Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round one of the Intelligence Racing League Division 2 Sprint Championship race. You join us tonight, or this afternoon rather, at CEST Circuit. It will be a night race though, and it should be quite a good one as well. I am looking forward to it. I hope you guys are too. Start of a championship, always interesting, and we'll just have to watch and see how this evening plays out. It should be a good race though. We were treated quite nicely in Division 1 just an hour or two ago, so hopefully we can have a similar race this evening. I do apologise for the delay in the start of the race, but that was due to technical issues, and at least we can get ready to go now. We have 19 drivers online, 17 of whom are ready, and we'll hop into the qualifying session straight away. So yeah, CEST Circuit, created in 2004, a track designed by Herman Tilke. After 2004 though, the 2004 Grand Prix, where it was slightly rushed just to get it ready on time, they redesigned, I believe, Turn 4, which ended up making the track about 5 metres shorter, but it has affected the times and overall, but it should be quite a good track. It was originally... the idea was originally brought out by the Crown Prince. Let me just get his name up. The Crown Prince Sheikh Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, who is also the honorary president of the Bahrain Motor Federation. So yeah, this is quite an interesting track. The overall Grand Prix circuit length is 5.412 kilometers long. Which is 3.63 miles. We've got 15 turns here, and the race lap record is held by Pedro de la Rosa in a McLaren in 2005. But anyway, let's get ready and straight into the qualifying session. Do let me know in the comments if you would like me to get any specific detail up on the left-hand side. I always do quite like having the best tyres up, just to see what kind of strategies people are running during the race. And Jav with a strong word of warning to the drivers there, which I shan't convey onto the stream because I don't think that would be very professional of me. But anyway, we're going to be heading out on track first. This is Hayden Rogers, and it looks like there's a couple of cars ahead of it. This car's being a little bit glitchy here. I'm not quite sure what is going on for him there, but we'll just hop up to the other drives. It looks like I think we actually had a Haas leaving the track first, and yeah, it's going to be one Xavier, so that's the other Haas. The two Haas's are leading us out on the track, so we'll watch them for now. We'll do a ride on board. You're welcome, Jav. I had a quick look on Wikipedia before we started, but yeah, we have got, it actually looks like the Xavier has actually let MZ official through, so is that MZ? Oh no, M2, sorry about that. Yeah, anyway, we're going to ride on board. We'll do our hot lap on board with him in just a moment. But you can see this is quite a Tilke track. I think in a way it's similar to Sepang, but also very different. And there's a reason it has to be run at night. It's because, given the location of Bahrain, it's a pretty hot track. And you can see him locking up into that turn there, which is something that is really easy to do. And yeah, don't forget to follow the Twitter account. But yeah, it's very easy to lock up into that turn. We've got 16 minutes left, so the drivers are going to be coming towards the end of their initial outlaps now. And we can get ready to start here with the first laps of qualifying. Now, setups are going to be quite important this evening. Unluckily, we're not getting the comments up in the top right, so I'm going to just, every now and then just have a quick check on the YouTube. But we're going to be riding aboard, heading through the final couple of turns then. This is actually turn 14, then that little right-hand kink on the right there is turn 15. But anyway, we're going to get going now, riding on board with M2 official. He's in ERS mode 4. Now this track uses quite a lot of ERS, and this is an extremely long main straight. But anyway, heavy braking into turn 1, but you want to be careful on the power so you don't get the spin through that turn 2 left-hander, then through turn 3, very flat curves, which you can take at your own peril though, as they do have less traction. Then heavy braking into turn 4 with the exit being slightly curved, and that can make it a little bit different through the left hand kink of turn 5, then into the braking zone of turn 6, trying to maximise the speed. He's actually run off the track there through turn 7, and that's probably going to mean an invalidated lap. So we'll head down to someone else who's roughly at that point of the track. I think Xavier is there. He is going through turn 7 now. There's a car in front of him. But yeah, he just went off there, carried a little bit too much speed into turn 6. You're heavily reliant on the downforce there. But anyway, heading out of turn 8 up towards turn 9. Now turn 9 and 10 is just such a difficult braking zone. We'll see if we can catch him locking up. No, he manages to stay away from locking up, even on the hard tyres. So quite good braking there from Xavier then. Along the straight, which is the other DRS zone, towards turn 11. Down to gear 4, but then flat out up the hill towards turn 12 and 13 is this right-hander here. You can see it's all about the exit with the speed there, back on the power. Now towards turns 14 and 15 to bring an end to the lap. The first couple of laps have been set. Sabinho there so far on provisional pole with a 1:29.0. Although that has just been taken by Recchi, also with a 1:29.0. Or Reckless, sorry. Very close between those two drivers. Let's see what Xavier does. He does a 1:30.5, so a little bit of a spread up here, although these are only the banker laps. They'll probably hot up a lot more towards the end of the session run. We've still got 13.5 minutes to go, and Toothy Danny there with a 1:29.420. They're up into 4th place for him. He's half a tenth behind Storm, and Sabinho is just ahead of him there. We're just watching everyone start their first lap. So we'll go down to someone actually on the track. Anyway, through turn 7 goes Hayden Rogers as Bryn Mike. Either Bryn Mike has retired from the session. I'm not quite sure why he's done that, but hopefully we'll get an explanation maybe in the Discord. Yeah, I'll put up the full track map now. Sorry about that, I've only just seen. There we go, and it also shows us if they've invalidated or not. But yeah, should be quite interesting. Reckless is pretty fast. Hopefully he doesn't drive too recklessly though, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I've got the mini-map up there now, so that should be quite good. And we can have a look, see if they invalidate. Running very wide there, definitely experimenting with the track limits is the Red Bull driver. I've done the track map now, so hopefully that's alright. But yeah, this is the start of a new short championship, so it should be quite entertaining to watch. And towards the line then goes the Red Bull. He crosses it and it's going to be 7th place with a 1:30.4. So just at 1/10 of a second behind DJ Williamson. So we have got quite close areas on the qualifying order. Anyway, heading through turn 10 now goes the Frosty Calvin, and you can see all of the drivers in the bottom right all over the track actually, and it also shows quite interesting what drivers are where, but a bit of a lag there. Hopefully that doesn't persist throughout the race as the Red Bull heads up the hill then towards turn 13. Bit of braking there. I think it's a lift through turn 12 just up the hill, making sure you don't go too wide. But anyway, heading towards turns 14 and 15 now goes the Red Bull. Not really any turn names here, and if they were, they'd probably be in Arabic, and I wouldn't even try for risk of offending everyone. There's yellow flags, and I think that's a Ferrari letting McLaren through just at the beginning of Sector 3. So that's quite good. Frosty Calvin across the line though with a 1:29.5, and that is just a 1/10 of a second behind Toothy Danny. So still quite a lot of passing to happen. Paulus is on provisional pole though, lots of P's there, with the medium tyres, and he's beaten Reckless by, I don't know, 3.5 tenths. So it's quite interesting. These strategies are going to be very important, and if we see a safety car, that could all change as well. Into turn 1, we've got yellow flags, but I think that's just drivers letting each other through, but that has not gone well for M2 official there. He's gone off right at the beginning of Sector 2 on the exit of what looks like turn 4 there. Yeah, he must have just got some wheel spin or clipped a barrier or something. I'm not entirely sure what the cause of that is, but it is not ideal for him, certainly. We've got Bosnia here, United Bosnia. Interesting name, I'll say. Heading towards turn 14 now. He's on an outlap though, so we'll head on to someone who's on a hot lap. You can tell by the ERS modes they're running. Now this is Nufflebeezy, I think I've pronounced that correctly, heading along the back straight now. And you can see how this is also used for other categories. There's actually, I think, 5 track layouts here at the Sakir circuit, because there's the 2 inner loops, there's the Grand Prix circuit, endurance circuit, and there's a drag strip. believe it or not. But that's the fastest Sector 2 so far from the McLaren driver. Let's see if he can get the fastest lap of the session. Although I do notice he's running the soft tyres, so he has got that advantage. Oh, sorry about that, Renault. Don't worry about it. And yeah, that is the fastest lap from Nuffle Beasley in the McLaren. And that's a 1:27.5. So that is 1.5 seconds faster than the fastest time on hard. So you can definitely see the difference in lap times from the different compound of tyres. Now we have got the Ferrari of Kieran. We'll just say Kieran actually. Towards the last couple of turns, no, he's not on he's on an out lap there. So we'll head over to someone on a hot lap, such as United Bosnia. He's heading up the hill then towards turn 13. That's the fastest Sector 2 so far, I think, on the hards, which is quite interesting, to say the least. So he's definitely got a lot of pace, although that purple thing did go quite quickly, so I'm not sure if that was just a glitch or not. We're already past halfway through the qualifying session, though, and most of the drivers have set lap times, although of varying speeds. And across the line, though, United Bosnia is going to take 6th position there. He's squeezing himself in between TT Danny and TTG Storm. That's the Williams ahead of him, and the Racing Point behind him. Almost said Force India there. It's still a habit I have, and it's not a good one. It's really annoying though. But we'll stick with the track, and we've got Max here. He's just heading through turn 8 now, up the hill. Let's see if he locks up into turn 9. Yeah, you can... Oh, I don't know actually. No, he's managed not to do it, but you can hear the tyres absolutely squealing under the pressure going there, but he's going to let someone else through, I think. So actually he might be on an out lap, and yeah, he's just letting another driver through. That's his teammate actually, who is Kieran. So he's just let Kieran through. Maybe Kieran's going to try and give him a bit of slipstream. We'll ride on board with him, although he's not going... He's on an out lap actually, or an in lap rather. Invisible though, he's heading towards turn 8 in his Mercedes. Now, everyone so far has set times on hards, apart from Paulus and Nuffle, both of whom have set tyres. Actually, I say that, TTG Storm just getting ahead of Paulus there with a 1:28.3 on the mediums. But the hards definitely are the tyre choice for those banker laps, and it does mean that those in the top 10 are going to start on the tyres that they qualify on. So this is where the strategy comes into play, whether it's worth trying to get the best position on the hards whilst using as much as you can, whilst trying to start on the hards, or going for a better qualifying position at the cost of softer, less durable tyres. So that's going to be an interesting call from the drivers. And of course, if there's a safety car, it could have an issue. Invisible is currently in P18, but no, he's not anymore. He's in P3 there with a 1:28.602. Just ahead of Paulus there, he's on a 1:28.639. And he's on the hards as well, so he's actually beaten a car on the mediums whilst on the hard compound. So definitely a lot of pace in that Mercedes. Now we have got Official here, heading through the first couple of turns up towards turn 4 then. He's on the soft tyres, so he's going to be going for a lot of speed, and he's had a bit of a front right lockup. If he gets into the top 10, that extra wear is not going to help him anyway. Heading through turns 5, 6, and down the hill towards turn 7, gentle on the throttle, definitely feathering it down into turn 8 then, trying to maximise the exit here. You can see right up to the edge of their track, straightening out the wheel, trying to minimise the wheel spin, then heavy braking in towards turns 9 and 10, managing not to lock up, getting good at apex there, minimising the wheel spin on the exit, heading up towards turn 11 then, pulling all the way over to the right, trying to maximise as you can see, a wide turn in, and he's on the power quite quickly up towards turn 12, through turn 12, flat out towards turn 13, braking there, up onto the curbs on the left, across the curbs on the right, and he's going to invalidate his lap, just being a bit too greedy with the track limits there, unfortunately for him, and that's going to cost him a lap. And he was on for a really good time. He'd got fastest of Sector 2, but it's all gone downhill. And I noticed that Sabinio and Tuthi Danny are just separated by 9,000ths of a second, so they are really, really close. And that is definitely going to be a battle we watch out for later on in the qualifying session. We've got Paulus here and Reckless there. So Paulus is actually behind Reckless. We'll go up to Reckless then, because they're both on hot laps. This McLaren in that nice orange livery, heading up through turn 12 then towards turn 13. Fastest sector 2 so far. He's on the medium tyres, and I think that the Renault behind him might have actually taken the fast sector 2 straight afterwards, so that'll be interesting as they cross the line then. Which one comes out on top? Reckless is on a 1:29.0. What kind of lap time is he going to set here? He's obviously on softer tyres. He should be able to improve, and yes he does. It's going to be a 1-2 so far for McLaren between Nufflebeezy and Reckless. There was a Renault behind him, but I don't think that Renault set a valid lap. No, he did, and that's going to be a 1:29.5, so maybe he didn't get the fastest sector 2. I might be wrong there. Yellow flags everywhere. I think drivers are just letting each other through as we enter the final stages of the qualifying session then. Only 4 minutes to go, and now this is where the drivers all come out of their shells and really go for those high-speed laps. Reckless will be on an in-lap now, so we're just going to have a look for someone on a hot lap. Those two Williams going right past each other on the straights. Toothy Danny ahead of his teammate, Jordan JT. But we're going to go up to Paulus then, because he's currently ahead, going through turn 4 now. And this track does look good at night time, you have to give it that. But anyway, the Alfa Romeo flying through. He's on the mediums as well, so definitely the mediums. It wasn't meant to be an insult either. But it is the start of the season, things happen. Hopefully the race goes better for you. But we have got Paulus here. He's actually he's not on an out lap. Sabinio here is on a hot lap though, and you can see him darting across the track. Through turn 8 he goes in that bright blue Toro Rosso. So yeah, it's Hayden and Ivor who will not be finishing the qualifying session. M2 official though has not set a lap time. Savino looks like he might have moved up the order there. I'm not quite sure. He probably moved down though. And yeah, just 0.06 of a second between Storm and Calvin. So you can see that those two drivers are very close as well. Anyway, yellow flags all over the track as the drivers who aren't on a hot lap let the drivers who are. And that's the fastest sector 2 so far for Sabinio. Oh, right. Unlucky, Xavier. Anyway, we get back to Sabinio. Through the last couple of turns he goes, and it's all about maximising the exit speed. He's trying to get the last second draft off the back of that Toro Rosso, or Alfa Romeo rather, and he has succeeded, and it's going to be third place so far with a 1:28.241. Very good lap time, and if he wants to, he could go for a second lap on those tyres, although I'm not sure how recommended that would be. We're going to go to Kieran now, who sets the fastest sector 2. He's on the mediums. He hasn't really set a competitive lap time this session though, and he'll be looking to improve, and it looks like he might do. He is definitely not far off his teammate. His teammate might try and give him a little bit of a draft onto the straight. You can see a little bit of wheel spin. He's just trying to correct it a bit, but that distant toe is going to be beneficial for the Ferrari, and it's going to be a 1:28.229, putting him behind Reckless and ahead of Sabinio. So it is definitely hotting up as we reach the closing stages of the qualifying session. Let's have a look then who's on a hot lap. It looks like Storm is. Let's see if anyone else is further up the circuit. Yes, we've got Toothy Danny here, who's currently in 10th place with a 1:29.0 in his Rocket Williams. That looks like it's the fastest sector 2 for him. Let's see whether he can improve. He's run a little bit wide, not invalidating his lap though. Through the last couple of turns he goes, and just riding across the curb, you can see the rear of that Williams being slightly skittish across the line though. I don't think he improved that lap. So we'll head down to someone. There's Jordan JT across the line. I think he's just starting a lap now. And we'll go up to Storm, I think it was, who's just heading towards the line now. Yes, he is. Going through the last couple of turns. Official retiring from the session, unfortunately not being able to get a lap in this evening. Anyway, across the line though, that's the fastest lap so far, with provisional pole going to Storm with a 1:27.5. Not far off, not far ahead of Nufflebeezy, who is currently on a lap. He's gone onto the soft tyres again towards the line. Let's see if he can retaliate against TTG Storm's lap. With 5 seconds to go, the checker flags will wave before he gets to the line. Across it he goes, and it's going to be the provisional pole with a 1:27.5, just half a tenth ahead of Storm, and that's going to put Storm in second. Now DJ Williamson is heading towards the final turn. He's on the mediums. Can he improve from 5th place? He only has 2 drives ahead of him on the same compound of tyres. And Xavier being disqualified from the session for driving the wrong way. But across the line goes DJ Williamson. Yes, he does. He gets 3rd place with a 1:27.9. The only driver in the mediums to break through the 1:28 barrier into the 1:27s. Now we've got Toothy Danny heading along the back straight now with his teammate Jordan JT just ahead of him. We'll go with Jordan first. Across the line he goes. He's currently in, he looked like he was in 13th or 14th. He's up into 12th now. We'll go to Danny, who is actually not on a hot lap. United Bosnia is on an invalid lap time, and we've got Otapa heading into the pit lane now. We haven't really covered him so far, and it just leaves CH55 Max last to try and go across the line then. He's up 4.5, he's down 4.5 seconds I think on his previous lap time. That's what the top left was saying anyway. Storm retiring from the session, but anyway, this will be finishing off our qualifying session. Yeah, it's not gone well for him this lap, and he's clearly bottled it earlier on before we got on board with him, unfortunately, and he's going to pull into the pit lane then, and that is your qualifying. Oh my goodness, absolutely rocketing into the pit lane, but that is your qualifying order. Now, don't forget to let me know which overlays you'd like on the screen before the race starts. But yeah, you can see quite an interesting qualifying session. Very tense those last couple of minutes. And we just wait for the driver to be put back in his garage, and we can get underway with the race under the lights this afternoon. It's a bit of a weird phrase, to be honest. But we should be in for a good race. I mean, usually when this race is run and I'm at home, it's in the morning, and it's quite weird watching cars drive at night in the morning, if you know what I mean. But this is 12th place there in the Williams, and our qualifying order, okay, track map, telemetry and tyres, but the qualifying order is going to be Nuffle Beasy, then TTG Storm 72, DJ Williams, Original Civi, Beckett, Reckless, Mekir and Sabinio, Frosty Calvin, Paulus H08, Invisible 17, 10, 15, Toothy Danny, Jordan JT, United Bosnia, CH55 Max, Otapa 8, Hayden Rogers TV, with either Brim Mike, M2 Official, and one Xavier not setting that time, not finishing the session, and those last two either not setting a lap time or being disqualified. That is unfortunate for Xavier, but we'll just have to get underway with the race. Those Haas is not in an ideal starting point for this evening. Show Paulus Star, well, he's at the top, so I believe he's at the top anyway, unless I'm being an idiot. Now the drivers will be finalising their setups before we get underway here. Just having a look at the Discord, seeing what's going on. And yeah, Xavier, unfortunate there. He tried to rejoin the track and he's just been disqualified in doing so, which is unfortunate for him. 20 seconds to go though, and they're finalising their setups, making sure that they've got their strategies ready for this evening. You want to make sure you've got enough fuel to make it to the finish line, and those tyre strategies are also going to play a large role in the outcome of this race, I think. And a safety car is always a possibility, especially with the first race of the season. Everyone's just trying to get a bit used to the cars again, but we can get ready to go. Let's get it up then. So detail, we'll get position change up first, and then we'll get the rest of the stuff up if you'd like. So yeah, we've got our telemetry up, we've got the track map up, and that'll be interesting to see which cars are where on track. The only problem is some of the colours are quite similar, like the Alfa Romeo and the Ferrari have very similar colours on that map. Williams and the racing points, if you know what I mean, and especially from the angle I'm at, because I've kind of got my TV quite low, but I'm standing up, so I'm kind of looking down on it, which means I'm not getting the optimal angle on my TV, so it's a bit weird. But yeah, it was definitely a close quali. But the drivers will just be making sure their tyres and brakes are warmed up for that run into turn 1. That is extremely tight. We could see 1 or 2 dive bombs down the inside. It's very easy to run 2 wide, maybe even 3 wide, but it's all about the exit and the left-hander of turn 2, which is where we'll see things happen, because contact there is easy to upset the cars when you're accelerating from a low speed and trying to turn at the same time. Any slight disruption to the balance of the car can have drastic consequences to the drivers. But I'll be right back. I'm just going to have a glass of water and moisten my mouth before we start, and that sounded a bit weird, and I'll never say that again. Yeah, we should be in for quite a good race this evening. And, yeah, well, this afternoon. I'm so used to having league races in the afternoon, that's why I keep saying this evening. Sorry about that, but, correct, Sparholt, in the commentators' chat. Nice. That's about as close as I can do it. So, we'll just ignore that, but we can get ready for this race. I am definitely looking forward to it. I hope you guys are too. Don't forget to get your popcorn and stuff out, because we're going to be treated this evening. 29 laps to go here at the Bahrain International Circuit. Each lap here, of course, as I mentioned earlier, is 3.5 miles long, or however many kilometres I said that was. 5.41 kilometres. But anyway, let's get ready to race. Just having a look down the order, the cars are syncing up, but it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights are out, and away we go. You can hear the engines revving, and it looks like it's a good start for DJ Williamson. He's going to be having a look down the inside of TTG Storm. He's having a look at Nuffle Beasy heading into turn 1. We could have 2 wide. No, we don't. The McLaren leads into turn 1. There's contact between Original Civi and DJ Williamson heading through turn 2. Then they're very close. Williamson getting that position back. Civi's now going to have to defend from the inside as Kieran's having a big sniff in his Ferrari. There's slight contact into turn 4. He's had to back off though, but Civi runs wide and so does Storm, and that could give the opportunity to Williamson to get past as side by side go the Toro Rosso and the Ferrari through turn 6 and 7. Look at that fantastic racing into turn 8 then. Can the Ferrari get the position? Down the inside he goes, and yes he does. Civi's having to back off. He's actually been forced off the track. Now the other Ferrari is going to have a look round the outside as we head through turns 9 and 10, and there's contact, massive contact, and that's the front wing damage for both cars, I believe, heading sideways through turns 9 and 10. That is unfortunate for them. Now looking up the order, we've got Frosty Calvin right behind Kieran heading through turn 11 and 12. Yeah, but that was big contact there. That is not what you want at the start of a 29-lap race. Big shuffling around the order. Hayden Rogers with a fantastic start. He's up 10 positions since those lights went out. And you can see the top drivers already rocketing off. Here we go then. Kieran's having a look down the into turn 14. Down he goes under braking. They're going to be side by side through turn 15 then. Nuffle Beasy there with the fastest lap so far. Of course, he started on pole and he's held on to it. But that Ferrari not getting the position. Frosty Calvin is not far behind, although he's running slightly higher wing, I believe. Looking down the inside goes the Ferrari again into turn 1. He's not quite close to get the move done, and I think he just got punted up the rear because he definitely had some unnatural movement. And there's a virtual safety car now, and I believe that might have been due to contact. Well, there's no clear reason as to why that virtual safety car has been brought out. It'll probably be brought out, held out for the next couple of sectors, and then we can get back to the action. But yeah, very interesting first lap. Lots of a couple of incidents. Hopefully that calms down a little bit. But yeah, a bit of aggressive driving. But that contact was not ideal, and that's ruined both of their races. Unless there's a safety car. Of course, the virtual safety car is going to mean they lose a bit less time than they would under normal race conditions. So they've been kind of blessed by that, but they're not gaining any time under the VSC. But anyway, we'll just wait for it to go green again. Just looking at the gaps before we get going, it looks like it's quite close between Sabinho and Reckless, and we go green here at Sakir. 3-second time penalty to Civi for corner cutting, and Jordan JT gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car. He's going to be very disappointed about that. That's going to have big implications on his race position here. But look at this run from Hayden Rogers on Reckless. He's had to back off though under braking. Sabinho with a 5-second time penalty for exceeding track limits though. That is not good for him. That's 8 seconds worth of penalty just in the last few seconds. And that is really, really bad news for him. Otapa 8 is just getting past the person who he got past, believe it or not. And Reckless going down the inside of Hayden Rogers. Look at that fantastic switchback from Sabinho though. That was Sabinho, not Hayden. But Sabinho not quite getting past Reckless there. Did get the switchback, but it wasn't quite enough. Into turn 4 then, under braking. And it looks like Reckless might have run a bit wide. Can the Toro Rosso get the position? He just hasn't got the traction, but he's having a look down the inside, or around the outside rather there, but he had to back off just to avoid contact. And down the inside goes Hayden Rogers out of absolutely nowhere, and the Ferrari might be able to capitalise on him if that has cost Hayden his exit speed. I'm not quite sure. Very, very close driving between these drivers though. And Frosty Calvin overtaking Mekiran, but Mekiran is going to be side by side with him as we go along the straight towards turn 11. Let's have a look if the Renault can have an attempt down the inside into turn 11. He does, he tries to hold it, but he just hasn't got the speed, the outside line, more like a karting line to be honest, just meaning he can carry, the Ferrari can carry so much more momentum through that turn, and that's just not the ideal place to make a move unfortunately, even though it follows a huge straight. So Tilke, not quite sure what he was thinking there, but it is Tilke after all. We'll go down to Max though. He's having a look round the outside on this Mercedes through turn 14. We could see a switchback from the Ferrari. Yes, he does, as Sandro nearly went into the back of Max. And that's into the pits goes Max. He's on the soft side, so that's understandable. We're only 4 laps in, so clearly a high tyre wear. Reckless and Sabinho look to be having quite the ping-pong battle. Reckless just going past on the exit of turn 1, but look how close they are. Unfortunately, we missed that through turns 1, 2 and 3, but down the inside goes Reckless. He's going to go deep, and that is going to be the position there for Sabinho, even though he has got those penalties. Fantastic move. Just Reckless outbroke himself there, and that's just, he just left the door open for the Toro Rosso driver. Now Hayden Rogers is going to be piling on the pressure to that McLaren. As you can see, he already is. He's very close to the back of the orange car. Although Reckless is not letting Sabinho go that easily, I can tell you that much. Kieran is not far behind Hayden Rogers as well. We'll ride on the helicopter angle, but only for just a couple of seconds. Yeah, I'll get the tyres up now. Yeah, I don't really know what brought out the virtual safety car, to be honest. It's a bit weird, but then again, so it is F1. Now we have our tyres up. The drivers who have pitted are Paulus, Toothy Danny, One Xavier, CH55 Max, and Ivor Bryn Mike. And I think some of those were due to contact rather than just the need to change tyres. But yeah, starting on the softs has definitely been beneficial for Hayden because he's absolutely ascending up the order. Now Sabinho looks like he's got to run out of the last turn. Yes, he does. Yellow flags in Sector 2 though. I don't really see what the cause of that is, but around the outside goes Reckless for 4th position. He's got that with a fantastic move. The DRS helping him. Hayden Rogers having a sniff of the inside line, but he's not close enough to make a move on the exit though. He could get the power down quickly enough, but Sabinho has just got a better line through there, and that has cost Hayden Rogers exit speed. Sabinho though not quite close enough to Reckless to make a move. Might have to go up for those top two though, BZ and Storm, because they are quite close, although not as close as these drivers we have down here, providing us with a fantastic show so far. Already lap 5 of 29, and that's a lock up there for the McLaren. He went onto the curbs and that definitely upset his car a little bit, but he did manage to recover it before anything bad happened. One Xavier there with a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and that is, he's going to be kicking himself for that, because it, to be fair though, is a very heavy braking zone here, because you head off the straight and bam, you're in the pit lane. So you've got to be careful, especially if you're following someone trying to get that draft and they suddenly brake you, or they suddenly brake really heavily along that straight, trying to get that speed into the pit lane down below the limit, which I believe is 50 miles an hour here. I might be wrong though, do let me know. But yeah, definitely a very interesting race so far. virtual safety car was a bit strange, but it did benefit those drivers who'd taken that collision earlier on in the lap. So it might have just been due to the end plate that flew off that Toro Rosso from Civi, because you could see it go flying. But I'm not too sure. But we have got Kieran right up the gearbox of Hayden Rogers. He's going to have a look down the inside line, but he just can't do it without the slipstream. You can see he's clearly running higher wing, or the same wing, because along that straight, once he pulled out of the slipstream, he just didn't have the speed. It was like hitting a brick wall with his car. But I think we're going to have to go up to TTG Storm. I do apologise for leaving that battle as Hayden Rogers overtakes Kieran, but we have these top two drivers extremely close heading through turn 8 there. And the McLaren has held on to the top spot for the whole race so far on the soft tyres. They're both on the soft tyres. You can see that's why the gap of 3.5 seconds between second and third is there, as neither of them have pitted. Kieran gets back past Hayden Rogers as there's a lot of... Oh, what happened there? That was very interesting. But we'll head up to TTG Storm and Beezy, because look, they are very close. We could see a move into turn 1 at the start of lap 7. I do apologise for flicking between these battles. It's just there's so much to cover right now. And yeah, you can see Hayden Rogers and Kieran both lost out to Calvin. And I think that was turn 10 there, where they clearly went... They were clearly, all three of them, having a crack at 6th position. And into the pits, very aggressively does Beezy, but he's speeding into the pit lane, and that's a 5-second penalty for the McLaren driver. Now we go to Sabinho, who's right behind Reckless. He's got the slipstream DRS, and DRS slight contact. He's pulled to the inside as we head into turn 1. Can the Toro Rosso get the position? I think he can, although on the exit there's a slight amount of contact, and the McLaren holds on to third place once again. But look how close those drivers are. Bosnia getting past Otapa 8 as well. We'll head up to Sabinho and Reckless, because they're side by side through turn 4. Around turn 5 then, it's going to be the inside for the Toro Rosso into turn 6, which becomes the outside for turn 7. Into turn 8, it's going to be the inside line again as they both run wide onto the runoff. Oh, that was intense. They're very lucky to avoid serious contact there. I don't think either of them have sustained any damage from this battle, but they're battling fearlessly and ferociously, as what you want to see, to be honest. So yeah, lap 7 of 29, absolutely fantastic so far, and I think we've got a lot more in store from these drivers, so definitely do not look away now. But yeah, this is some very interesting battling, some very close battling, even with the penalties. Yeah, those penalties that have been added to Savino, he's not going to be too happy about that. I do believe it's 8 seconds worth of penalties, which is absolute years in racing terms. And we'll just have to wait and see how that gets added at the end of the race for him. Of course, those drivers haven't yet pitted. Everyone below 11th, I believe, has pitted. Maybe not Jordan, actually. But look at that. Kieran and Hayden Rogers having a bit of a tussle into T1. And it looks like Kieran's got past. Hayden is on those softs, and he's slightly dropping back now. So I think his tyres might be reaching the end of their lifespan. But here goes Sabinho. He's having a look round the outside of Reckless. Can he get the position through turn 4? He's keeping his nose in for turn 5 into turn 6. We've been here before and we're here again. Can he get that position? He's had to back off though as he runs over the curb on the inside there. He might be going for a switchback. Can he get the traction down on the exit? No, Reckless absolutely pulling away there. But yeah, yellow flags in sector 2, and that's a Red Bull. That is the Red Bull of United Bosnia off the track there, and he's had a really big one through. That's the exit of turn 7, isn't it? That is not ideal. His teammate is up in 7th, though. He's gained about 8 positions since the start of the race, I think. But here we go. Frosty Calvin has caught up to Sabinho now, having got past Kieran and Hayden Rogers in just one fell swoop, to be honest. Got 2 birds with 1 stone there. And he's going to be looking to get past these guys into the podium positions. Now, of course, Sabinho is battling to get into a podium position on track. And he's doing quite well at it. These 2 drivers luckily haven't made contact, but if they keep battling this viciously, something might happen. You never know. And also, that battle between them is slowing them down and giving Calvin the opportunity he needs to catch up. As into the pits go Storm and Hayden Rogers. So you can see that their tyres definitely coming to the end of their lives. Both of them were on the softs, I believe, but they're going to be changing now. You can see Rogers is on the hard tyres. Sabinho having a look round the outside of Reckless though into turn 4 again. They're going to be side by side. It looks like he's had a much better run through turn 5. He has the position. Can he hold on to it though? Number 69 is currently in second place, just ahead of the McLaren. The McLaren's run one. He's off the track. That is Reckless off onto the runoff there through turn 8. He's just lost all rear traction on the exit of turn 7. I think he must have hit the curb or something, because that just sent him right around. And Sabinho now into second place. DJ Williamson though running right ahead, 2.5 seconds ahead of second, and he's on the same tyres as the 4 drivers that are behind him. But yeah, that was unlucky for Reckless. Managed to recover quite well. He's only lost about 2.5 seconds there, but Coast Vaseline has given us what you expect. There's yellow flags in sectors 1 and 2. I'm not sure why though, because those flags went as quickly as they appeared. But yeah, this is number 6, which has dropped down to 4th. Frosty sailing up into 3rd position. I'm just going to have a quick look at the position change. Frosty's having a great race. He's up 5 places. And M2 official, he's up 10 places, and Otapa is up 8. So you can see definitely that's having a big effect. Although, as I say that, M2 does drop down 1 position. A third of the way through the race now. We've had a lot of action so far, and I think there's probably a lot more in stock for us. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And yeah, this has been quite an interesting race so far. All 20 drivers are still driving, and after 10 laps, so having no DNFs is really something to be proud of, actually, especially in online racing. At least it's not an online lobby though, because that number would have certainly at least halved in this time span. But yeah, fortunately it's not. And Kieran getting a 3-second time penalty there for multiple warnings. But yeah, very good. We've got all 20 drivers. I can't remember who it was that joined late. Because they will have started on the default setup, I believe. As into the pits goes Sabinho though. Be interesting to see what tyres he goes onto. I reckon the hards, if it's only lap 11, those hards can definitely do probably, well, I'd say the hards can do 25 laps at a push. 20 laps should be good for those hards, as Paulus gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Now, is Sabinho serving his penalties? Yes, he is. And it's going to be interesting to see where the other drivers who's battling come out in relation to him. Yeah, the hards get strapped on there. And we've got Toothy Danny and Paulus definitely having a little bit of a tussle here along the straight. You've got the Williams pulling into the slipstream of the Alfa Romeo. He's absolutely soaring past like an Exocet missile into the inside of turn 1. It looks like he might just have that position. The Alfa Romeo, though, back down the inside through turn 2. They're going to be side by side on the exit of turn 3. No, they're not. Paulus just about guessing ahead. He had the better traction on the exit, and it's definitely benefited him, going for the defensive switchback move there, and it has worked out a treat for him, letting him hold on to that 15th place for now. Although Danny will definitely be having a crack at it again. So, keep an eye out on Danny. Yeah, so Sandro joined late, and I believe if you join late that you start on the default setup. So I'm not sure how much of an impact that has around this track as, say, compared to Monza, because I'm not sure what kind of wings you run around Sakir. But I reckon, I guess it's probably around 5, 6. I don't really play this game, to be honest, that much. I'm just here for the ride in the commentary box. But yeah, it's very interesting racing, and the strategy, it looks like most people are going to be going for a one-stop here. just flicking around the order, just trying to have a look at what the closest pass is. It looks like Sabino's come out very close behind Kieran following the pit stops. That's the fastest Sector 3 so far from the Toro Rosso. Down the inside though, he's flying past. Can he get the position? As ahead we've got Reckless and Civi side by side as well. So those two Toro Rossos reunited. Now Civi just ahead of Sabino. So you've obviously seen the effect of that as Kieran back down the inside of the Toro Rosso, trying to defend that position through turn 4 into turn 5. Can he hold on to it? I don't know. They're side by side then. 6 and 7 still side by side, but that Toro Rosso just getting ahead into turn 8 under braking. He's managed to hold on to that position from Kieran. Close battling there though. Very fun. Very entertaining to watch. And yeah, Civi has pitted earlier on in the race, I believe, onto those mediums because they're only 10 laps old. And yeah, Storm here is close behind M2 Official. We'll have a quick look at this battle then. It's quite close and they're heading towards the main straight. It's going to be all about the exit from turn 14 then. Big lock up from the Haas and that might cost him exit speed, I'm not quite sure. And the DRS, ERS and Slipstream working in the Racing Point's favour. A bit of a stutter there. As past he goes, a fantastic move there from the Pink Panther car, yeah. Just had to make sure I didn't say Force India there. It's always a bit of a catch, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I hope you did enjoy the little history lesson about the track before the start of the race. But DJ Williamson down the inside of United Bosnia, the Red Bull fighting the Alfa Romeo. The Alfa Romeo out on top, but can he hold on to that 5th position? We'll keep with them to find out because Bosnia is not far behind. And Frosty Calvin, he is closing up on them as well. Bosnia hasn't actually pitted yet though. Those hards are 12 laps old, and he's not going to be pitting for a to some soft. Now I noticed Xavier has gone on to the soft tyres. I'm going to have a quick look who is the fastest lap, and it's currently TTG Storm with the 131.4. As down the inside though goes Frosty Calvin. Good move. He's going to be side by side through turn 12 into turn 13. He might have a look down the inside here. No, he doesn't. He's going to stick just behind him as he's nearly in contact, and he cuts the corner, getting a 3-second time penalty there. You can see that that is not ideal for him, but he's going to have a look back down the inside into turn 14. He has a crack. He's on those newer tyres, same compound but definitely newer, and that grip looks to have benefited him. And I think he's also a pit stop ahead now, so that's going to be benefiting him as well as we approach the halfway point in the race. Invisible is currently leading, although he did start on those hards. And I don't even know if he started on those hards. I'll just have a quick look at stops. No, yeah, he started on those hards. Only himself and Bosnia have yet to pit. So let me just get those tyres back up. Sorry about that. We've got Bosnia here. He's close behind Calvin. I'm not sure how happy he is about Calvin getting past him, although they're not really battling for net position quite yet. So we'll have to see how those strategies play out. Of course, Bosnia will be pitting onto softer tyres when he makes his pit stop. Of course, you've got to use at least 2 different tyre compounds during a race, just to make sure that it's not monogamous. Just not everyone using the same strategy or just the same tyre for the whole race. But yeah, very interesting to see how these strategies are going to play out before we get cracking again. And yeah, you can see Bosnia's dropping back, but there is all to play for, as Calvin is going to be looking to stretch those hard tyres towards the end of the race, whereas Bosnia will be able to pit onto some softer tyres, although he will lose all that time in the pit stop as well as already being behind them. So it kind of evens itself off. But Kieran is quite close behind Sabino for 8th position here. And the DJ Williamson, who I believe is he's not in the net lead actually anymore. BZ and TTG Storm are in the net lead, although they'll be making an extra pit stop later on in the race due to the fact that they're both on medium compound tyres and they will not make it another 15 odd laps. So yeah, I think in the net lead it's actually DJ Williamson, who's only half a second ahead of Frosty Calvin. In fact, I think we're kind of obligated to move up to this battle for now, because just how close they are and just how important this is. Now, this is only a 7-round championship, which means that each race, the points that you earn in it, are a lot more impactful than they would be in the normal 21 or 22 season calendar, unless this is of course 2018. But that's the other Renault. Sorry about this. Sandrews is having a bit of an issue there through turn sector 2. He was off the track. You can see it in the bottom right. Brought out the safety, the yellow flags, but fortunately that danger has been cleared. I'm not sure if he took any damage from that, but yeah. Also, if you'd like me to do some podium interviews at the end of the race, do let me know, and I shall ask questions to the top 3 finishers this evening, just how they found the race and that sort of thing. That's if you want it anyway. But for the lead, the net lead rather, Frosty Calvin down the inside into turn 1. Now the Alfa Romeo is going to be back down the inside into turn 2 though. They are side by side on the exit of turn 3, and I think the Renault is just slightly ahead. DJ Williamson into turn 4 though. He's going to be trying to get that position back. Now these drivers, they're going to be trying to stretch these tyres, and the harder they battle, the quicker those tyres will wear, and they will not want to make another pit stop before the end of this race. And you can see Frosty Calvin's absolutely flying off as there's yellow flags in sector 1. I'm not sure how close those drivers were and what kind of contact there was between them. Interesting. And look at this. This is a 4-way battle, I believe, for the points. Yes, it is, for the final points playing position. But we've got Bosnia here on DJ Williamson, trying to get the switch back through turn 12. This is not a good lap for the Alfa Romeo driver. He's lost one position. I'm sure he won't be wanting to lose another. Bosnia doing very well in that Red Bull. And Invisible Pits leaving just this driver we're watching right now, the only driver who has yet to pit. And you can see Williamson is actually losing a lot of time to Calvin. That gap's already up to 1.5 seconds, which is something I don't think anyone was expecting. It'll be interesting to see where Invisible comes out of the pit lane. Oh, what has happened there? That is a big issue for United. Bosnia, has he been hit up the rear or something? I don't know, but that's just in the middle of the straight. That is very, very strange indeed. Just, he's done a full 360. He's taken damage though, and that's going to mean he's pissing slightly prematurely. But that is very strange. I think that must have just been some kind of desync, unless there was someone really close behind him who had a little bit of a touch in the rear. Because I think Reckless was behind him. Just having a look at these drivers, see if they've got any front wing damage. It doesn't look like there's any front wing damage for the McLaren. Is there any for the Toro Rosso? I don't think so. We'll check on Kieran as well. No. So I really don't know what happened to Bosnia there. That is extremely strange. Might just be some kind of net code or thing. The Codemaster server's up to their usual mischiefry. I really don't know, but that is extremely strange. I don't think I've ever seen something like that before. And Bosnia not having the greatest time of his life right now. He's dropping down the order like a stone in a whirl. And that is extremely unfortunate for the Red Bull driver. You can see how much he's having to lift off just to manage to get it around turn 12. But yeah, that is extremely unfortunate for him. Which leaves Hayden Rogers in 10th though, as he's going to have a look down the inside of Otapa. 8 into turn 14. There's contact, and he's just about caught it, but he's on the run up, and he's got the wheel spin. Can he hold on to it? Yes, he can, but only just. Paul is getting past. He's definitely had to take a lot of evasive action there to try and avoid contact with that Red Bull that was all over the place there, sliding around like a fish out of water. So yeah, a bit strange there. But yeah, I'm very confused about what happened to Bosnia. He'll probably let us know what happened in the Discord later. But yeah, it's extremely strange I didn't think there was anyone that close behind him, so I might be wrong. He might have had some contact rear, but yeah, definitely not what you'd expect. But yeah, so far, very interesting race. It's actually been fantastic racing from the drivers, though. Still got all 20 drivers as we approach the final third of the race, as Invisible and Kieran are side by side. There's contact there. You can see the hand of frustration go up in the cockpit, but commentator's curse has struck and Sandrews is out of the race, and that is a safety car. Where did he go then? Was that on the exit of... I think he lost it where the other driver lost it earlier. I can't see his car. But yeah, curse of the commentator doesn't strike harder than that, as Bosnia gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. This race for the Red Bull driver. Luckily, I think he can serve that under the safety car and not take any issue. But you can see drivers pulling into the pit lane massively, and Bosnia is slowing to a halt here. And he's got another drive-through penalty. I think the game's being a bit glitchy. He must have some kind of internet problems. But look at this. Absolutely everyone going into the pits. There goes MZ official. M2 official, rather. And an overtake into the pit lane, it looks like. That was a lot of audacity as they merge inside of each other. And somehow Civic has got past Danny into the pits. Jordan JT then, is he going to go into the pits as well? Yes, he does. Bosnia's going to have to. Now let's have a look. And I reckon it looks like everyone's going into the pits. Actually, no, Invisible's going to stay out on those medium tyres. He's going to be one of the few, though. Everyone going on to the softs. Now, it is 10 laps till the end of the race, of course. There's not going to be much wear under the safety car. And it's going to be interesting whether those softs can just about make it before completely going before the end of the race. And you can see that some drivers are unsure. There's a spattering between softs and mediums between the drivers. So it's going to be very interesting. Those on the mediums are going to be able to push as hard as they like, but they'll have slightly less grip, or slightly less speed rather than those on the softs. But those on the softs might not be able to push as hard because they're going to have to stretch those softs harder than the usual lifespan, I think. Well, that'll be interesting. It all depends on how long this safety car is out for. You can see the Mercedes out in front, but Bosnia and Civi not changing tyres. Neither is Xavier, I don't think, although I don't think he's made it. Oh no, he has. He's caught up. But yeah, very interesting. I don't know what's happened to Bosnia. You've got to feel unlucky for him. And yeah, it's just not gone well. He's also been given loads of... got given, I think, 2 penalties for speeding under safety car, even though we saw him slow to a stop on the straight. So yeah, really unlucky for him there. But at least we've got a brief respite from the on-track action. It looks like a little bit of a dispute here between Paulus and Otapa. A bit weird, but yeah, I agree with you, Jav, about that. It's just unfortunate for Bosnia, the driver, not the country. Yeah, Invisible is smart not to pit. Of course, his tyres aren't exactly old either, are they? They're only 2 laps older than everyone else's, and it just gives him the net position of first. So he could be blessed rather than cursed here, because it's not going to make too much of a difference against the other medium drivers, because those mediums will definitely last till the end. And yeah, that battle behind Invisible on the softs, this could be what Invisible needs to win the race. There's definitely a lot of speculation going on, so we'll definitely have to keep a weather eye out and see what happens. Calvin to win, says Jav. Calvin is currently in 4th place in the running. We saw he had a lot more pace than DJ Williamson when he made that overtake, although that gap recently definitely got smaller and smaller. Yeah, that is unlucky for Sandro. He lost it. We saw other drivers lose it earlier in the same place, but they were lucky enough not to hit the wall. And yeah, you can see him leaving the session. Sabino agreeing. Sabino, you're meant to be driving, mate. I think. Yeah, you're in 7th, mate. Sure, you should be predicting yourself. Can't underestimate Storm. Storm is in 2nd, so he's in quite a good place to try and make a move up into turn 1. This is going to be like lap 1 all over again, so we're going to have the first third of the race on repeat, essentially. But hopefully it'll be as interesting as the original first third of the race. This is going to be interesting. We've got to keep an eye out in that bottom left corner for the safety car in this lap. So I think we're going to have at least one more lap under the safety car. Invisible P1, Calvin P2, Storm or Nuffle P3. So expecting that Calvin's going to make up 2 positions, and it could be any man's race for second or third. It's going to be like the Grand National these last few laps, I reckon. Let's see if I can sneak as fast as the commentators doing that. That is my race to get enough words out in time to cover the action. I'm not quite sure what's going in the back, and though Tapper gets a pit lane penalty for speeding in the pit lane, which is not good for him at all. But yeah, this will probably be the final lap under the safety car. I'm not quite sure why Otapper's pitting actually. And you can see Jordan JT is also pit. Was there contact under the safety car? I'm not sure. I don't really know why they've pitted. Maybe they're pitting again, just that they're on fresher softs for the end of the race. That could be quite clever actually, because it's going to cost them net position, but it's 2 less laps they're going to have to go on the same softs as those drivers ahead of them. And I think some of them might have switched off the mediums as well, because it looks like there's a few less yellow tyres on the left there than there were previously. But heading through the midway point of this track, Calvin Storm Invisible is Jad's prediction. So this should be very interesting. Try and keep on top of all the action then. As we head along the back straight, you can see the drivers just trying to get those tyres and brakes warmed up. I'm pretty sure that they get told the safety car is in this lap before we do, so maybe they know something we don't. I might be wrong there though. It just feels like it's very last minute in this game when it says the safety car is coming in. But yeah, it's usually once the whole train is formed up again that the safety car comes in. And there we go, safety car in this lap. So let's get ready. I'm just going to clear my throat. Buckle up, because this is going to be one hell of a roller coaster ride for these last couple of laps. You can see Invisible backing up the pack, letting the safety car return to the pit lane. Just getting that last minute warmth and heat into those brakes and tyres, warmth and heat being the same thing, apparently. So yeah, we will have 8 laps here just waiting to go green. And we are green, in fact, and Sabinia getting a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits. Invisible leads into turn 1, followed by Storm. Storm is going to be trying to get past him into turn 1. Round the outside he goes. Can he get the switch back done on the Mercedes? It's going to be the inside for turn 2. They're going to be side by side. Can Storm get the position? Yes, he can. No, we've got the McLaren of Nuffle trying to get round the outside of the Mercedes as well into turn 4. They are 3 wide almost. And you can see Storm has got that first position through turn 4 then. The Mercedes even not in the correct place as the McLaren gets round as well. Now Frosty is not far behind. Frosty's trying to get past the Mercedes of Invisible as well. This is not going well for the previous race leader. It's the fastest sector 1 there for Frosty Calvin on those softs, and also the fast lap of the race could be interesting. Now the battle for the top 3 has severely commenced, and we could be in anyone's position to win, and nearly running deep but very well on the brakes there is Nuffle Beezy, just keeping it on the track, which is what you're supposed to do as it turns out. But yeah, look at this, the predictions, let's see whether they come true, and it all depends on how hard these drivers race in the closing stages of the Grand Prix. Now Storm is in first place, followed by Nuffle Beezy and Invisible. I know Calvin appears to be the favourite to win, but right now that's not looking too likely, although we've still got a fair distance to go, but it is very tense. You can feel the tension on the circuit, and no one knows who's going to finish where. As through one of the bollards there goes, I think that was either Brim Mike, actually. But look how close Toothy Danny is to the back of Hayden Rogers. We're going to have to go up to DJ Williamson, though, who could get back past Calvin. Into 4th place goes DJ Williamson, round the outside into turn 1. That is the ideal way to overtake, because it means you can get the exit and the overtake done through turn 2. Now, DJ Williamson, he wasn't in any of the predictions, but he was leading the race for the most of the first half. And through turn 4 we go. He could try and get that top step this evening. I don't really know. It will be interesting. Invisible's dropping back, though. He's already 1 second behind Nufflebeezy, so those mediums are not going to be helping him, though. Although towards the end of the race, that might just be what he needs, that extra bit of age that can come out of, that he can get out of his tyres might just help him at the end of the Grand Prix. Now we've got DJ Williamson, Frosty Calvin and Reckless here. Sabinho not far behind, although he's not had the best exit into turn 12. Reckless having a look round the outside on Frosty Calvin. They're going to be side by side up through turn 12. Can he hold on to the position? The McLaren down the inside with the downforce. Back down the inside goes Calvin into turn 13, but he just can't get that move done. Now it looks like that might have compromised the Renault's exit, because Sabinho is not far behind towards turn 14 then. Could we see a move from the Toro Rosso? Yes, we can. He's going to move down the inside. Could he get both of them? No, he can't. He nearly goes into the back of that McLaren. He might not have the greatest exit, though. Frosty Calvin is going to be close behind. TTG Storm getting the fastest lap of the race so far with a 1:30.012. And I believe that beats the original race lap record. Heading towards turn 1, though. Look how close these drivers are. Just a couple of tenths separating each driver from the other. And these drivers are extremely close. One Xavier there with a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, which is unfortunate. And one Xavier has retired from the session in the pit lane, I believe. That is unlucky for him. And that's brought out yellow flags along the main straight. Now, Paulus has got past Hayden Rogers. It looks like there's a bit of a battle going on there, but we're going to head back up to Sabinho, though, because although he has got the penalties, I'm not sure how many of them he's already served. And he's having a look down the inside of Reckless, but he's not had the greatest exit out of turn 8 there. And that's cost him a fair amount of time. And yeah, the sun is shining brightly today, even though we had a thunderstorm earlier. Still yellow flags in sector 1, and that car looks to be going very slowly. This is a dramatic race. Kieran not far behind Frosty Calvin. Frosty Calvin, he was predicted to win by most of you. He's down into 7th place right now. And it looks like TTG Storm could be on for a good finish this evening. And Calvin, Storm, Invisible. These are the other... Are you joking about Calvin? Oh, that's unlucky, Xavier, that you're lapped by everyone, but hopefully better luck next week. We'll just keep an eye out on the action, because Nufflebeezy is close behind Storm. So we're going to have to keep an eye out between these two drivers. Invisible, he's nearly 2 seconds behind them now as we enter the last 5 laps of the race. Sorry, I have to make sure, because sometimes it's a bit confusing with the lap cams, because you can't just take away 25 from 29, because you've got to add the extra lap that they're on. As down the inside, there's contact, and DJ Williamson is facing the wrong way, and that's going to drop him all the way down to 8th position. There's yellow flags in sector 1, 9th, and even 10th for the Alfa Romeo driver. That has really gone badly for him, and he's dropped like a stone there because of the proximity of the drivers following the safety car. That is really unlucky for him. He was having such a good race. He's still just about in the points. It depends whether he can hold on to that position, though. We're going to stick with this battle for 1st and 2nd, though, because look how close they are. There's less than half a second between them, and it's arguably the most important battle on the track. And as I mentioned earlier, the points are essentially worth more than double than they would be in the normal season, because there's so many less races, which is why getting high points is just going to be so much more valuable than it would be normally during a full-length season, if you understand what I mean. But it's 4:20 PM here in the UK. I'm not quite sure what the rules are around retiring or not. And just to clarify, do you get a race ban for being lapped? I'm not sure. Or do you get a race ban for retiring? Oh, look at this though! That Ferrari's trying to get past Calvin. Just not quite close enough to make the move, though. He's got it on the exit. Into turn 4, he's going to move around the outside as that's a defensive line from Calvin into the inside as Nufflebeezy and Storm are having a bit of a tussle up front. I can't quite drop to them now because look how close these two drivers are. Okay, we'll hop up to them quickly because look how close they are, and that's a big moment there for the Pink Panther against the McLaren. You can see he had to do a lot of corrective steering. He's just about held on to that first place. We've only got 2.5 laps to go. It could be anyone's race this evening. It is literally the Grand National for these last couple of laps. And anyone could win. Oh, okay. I'm not sure what the race ban is about then. I don't know. If someone would like to explain, maybe? Of course, there's a slight delay between me saying and you seeing. But yeah, look at this. Nufflebeezy, he's really putting the pressure on that racing point. Now, Invisible has caught up again. He's gained a second in the last couple of laps compared to the second and a half or so that he dropped. He's now only half a second away. As you can see how the winding of the drivers trying to prevent the other driver trying to break that slipstream, really. And look at that, a bit deep into turn 1 goes Invisible. That's going to hurt his exit speed, as it is the top 3 drivers that, for now, Sabinho not far behind though. Those time penalties are also going to be amplified by just the proximity of the grid, as Sabinho outbrakes himself there, going very deep into turn 4. That's going to cost him a fair amount of time. There's yellow flags in Sector 1, and that is Original Civvy not in a good position there. He's facing the wrong way, along with Hayden Rogers. Hayden, who had such a good start to the race, it has just gone massively downhill following the safety car. A lot of incidents just due to the tightly packed grid. We're now entering the last 1.5 laps with Kieran going around the outside of Calvin. Can Calvin hold on to the position? No, he's going to brake earlier. Just trying to call the bluff, but he can't. And the 69 car of Kieran, the other 69 car on track, getting that 6th position. We'll head back up to Sabinho though, because he's still putting the pressure on Invisible, and that's meaning Invisible's dropping back from the top 2 as he's trying to battle, he's trying to defend, which is costing him extra time. So it will be interesting to see where they end up. We're going to ride on board with Nufflebeezy though, as we head onto the straight for what should be the final time this evening. On towards the final lap of the race. There's yellow flags, and that's a Ferrari. That's DJ Williamson, actually, I believe, not having a good end to the race. That is unfortunate for him, but the McLaren moving down the inside for the lead of the race into turn 1. Down he goes. Can he hold on to the position? He's side by side with TTG Storm, and he's got the position. That is the lead of the race for the McLaren driver. And can he hold on to it though? We'll ride on board with the Racing Point as DJ Williamson is out of the session. Through turn 4 we go though, and the Racing Point is really putting the pressure on Nufflebeezy heading into turn 6 and 7 then. Can the McLaren defend from the Racing Point? Just look how close these drivers are, and Sabinho is so close behind Invisible, but we've got to stay with these drivers, and there's just so much going on right now. Can Storm get that first place back? He's lost it on the last lap from a fantastic move by Nufflebeezy. As we head into the last sector, he's going to be getting quite hot under the collar. There's yellow flags in sector 1. I don't really know why that is. But here we go, TTG Storm right behind Nufflebeezy as we head through the final sector of the race towards turn 13 then. Can he get a good exit out of turn 13? Look how close they are. Just 0.3 seconds separating them. 0.2 as he head towards turn 14. This is where the race could be made. He's just not quite close enough to get it under braking though. And Beezy has had a fantastic exit. And it looks like that's going to be the race win for the McLaren driver, breaking that slipstream. But look how close they are. Across the line though, and around the outside. Sorry, that was lap 28. Into turn 1 then. Storm going round the outside, trying to get the switch back through to the inside onto turn 2 and turn 3. He just hasn't got the exit speed. Sorry about that. I misread the lap counter. Round the outside into turn 4. he goes. They are side by side once again, trying to go for the switchback move, it looks like, into turn 5, nearly getting cut across by Nufflebeezy. They're going to be side by side into turn 6. Will there be contact? Yes, there is! And the racing point goes round, and that gives Invisible second position. That is really unfortunate for him, and he's dropping down the order. He might not even get points, and Reckless has had to come to a full stop there, and that's cost him a lot of time as well, and thus a lot of points on the final lap. Absolute carnage, absolute scenes here. I actually can't get my head around it as Reckless goes off, and I think he might have damaged, I don't know, that was just a lot of understeer, although that might just be an issue with the way he was driving it there. But look at that, really unfortunate for Storm to spin on the final lap. Going through turns 6 and 7 there side by side is just not a good idea. We saw it happen earlier where there was a bit of an issue, and you can see the fuel indicator on Calvin's bottom right going, and probably for all of the drivers actually. As we head towards the line, it's going to be Nufflebeezy who takes the win here at Sakir Circuit this evening. Invisible taking second with Sabinho in third, Kieran actually in third, and Toothy Danny is in fifth, but Reckless takes third. The McLaren sandwich of a podium, and look at that. Sorry about that, that was all due to penalties. Max crossing line in 11th, you can just see. Actually, no, he's in 12th as Jordan takes 11th. Ivory Bryn Mike then to take 13th home. Then Civi will be coming through the last couple of turns now towards the line. That was intense. I'm pretty much out of breath, as you can probably tell. That is a big shame for Storm though, having driven so well those last few laps, only to have it all ruined. And he's finished 7th. At least he took some points home this evening. But when you're battling that closely, contact is inevitable. And it's, to be honest, I think the people who've had it worse are the two Red Bulls. Hayden had such a brilliant start. He'd gained 10 positions from the start of the race, but they're going to finish 16th and 17th. Of course, we saw Bosnia just get absolutely shafted by Codemasters along the straight, and then once again with the drive-through penalties, and then United Bosnia coming home in last. What a race, absolutely fantastic season opener. Hopefully we can see similar levels of action in the following races, but that was insane. Congratulations to the drivers. Whew. You can see the two McLarens there, number 75 on the top step. As we have come to an end from round 1. The Dutch driver on top, followed by the German and the Swede. It's a shame, Storm, but at least you put on a good show, I can tell you that much. But yeah, fantastic. Now, if you'd like podium interviews, let me know down below and I'll invite those top 3 to the podium. If not, then don't say anything. But the finishing order is going to be Nufflebeezy, Invisible, Reckless, Mech, Kieran, Toothy Danny, Frosty Calvin, TTG Storm 72, Sabinho, Paulus H08, M2 Official, Jordan JT, CH55, Max, Ivory Brim Mike, Original Civi, Otapa 8, and Hayden Rogers, with the United Bosnia rounding off the finishers. The DNS were DJ Williamson, who was really unlucky, as was one Xavier and Sandro. What a finish to the race. Alright, I'm just gonna... I will invite those top 3 to the party then in just a second when we get to the end of the session. And I have been given permission by by Matty to do the podium interviews. So yeah, I'll do that. So it was... Let's get those top 3 up on my phone now. So we'll get... Oh, no. He's left. I don't know. Maybe... I should probably establish that earlier. We'll just leave it for this week. But next week we'll definitely do podium interviews. Because obviously I haven't really made that clear. I came up with that pretty much during the race. So yeah, we'll do hopefully podium interviews next week. But... what a fantastic race. What a fantastic season opener. Shame we've only got 6 races, hopefully of that standard, left this season. But yeah, absolutely splendid under the lights in Bahrain. And I think everyone enjoyed that. Of course, there were winners and there were losers, unfortunately, just due to unforeseen contact and things like that. But if you did enjoy the race, Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the Intelligence Racing League channel. Also follow us on Twitter. And I shall see you next week. Goodbye.